There are many ways to describe this year's Pinnacle Award honoree.
Hardworking, honest, fun to be around, other-centered, social, compassionate, and a great leader.
A great leader. On the job, in the community, within his family, and of course inside this organization.
Of all the great things we can say about this man, the first thing that comes to mind is, Pat Boyd, you've been bamboozled.
The AWCI and Company laughing.
Nice, interesting things to say about Pat Boyd. Wow, you're going to have to give me some time. Can I get back to you in about 2 or 3 months?
I asked him one time, I said, you know, you wear shorts and tennis shoes to work and you sit here and do the computer work, and I said, what if you have to go out to a job? And he says, oh, I charge extra if I have to put my big boy britches on.
Having a dad that has a t-shirt that says, as a matter of fact, I am a rocket scientist, kind of gave a new spin to being a child trying to learn math.
My dad was born on the 4th of July, and so he does think that the fireworks every year for his birthday.
Pat Boyd's All-American story began in 1846 when his great-great-grandparents heeded the call, "Westward ho!" and moved to Texas.
They came in a covered wagon, and actually they arrived just before Texas became a state.
Eventually, Pat's father, Ray Boyd, was born, grew up, married Velma, and had 2 sons, Michael and Patrick. They were in awe of their father.
He was quite the character, and he was quite the character in the largest sense of the word. When you think of the stereotypical patriarch, the kind of the big daddy on cat on the hot tin roof type of personality, he was all-encompassing.
When Pat was a small boy, his dad started Ray Boyd Plaster and Tile in a building behind the family home. Pat's mom took care of the books. Within a few years, both sons were brought into the business.
And we had to start working on a job when we were 11 and 12 years old. Now, thank goodness there wasn't OSHA back then. We might have been pulling a board or toting a lath or trying to act like we could lath or trying to act like we could plaster at first, and then as we did later on. And didn't realize how much we were absorbing and learning at the time.
One of the stories I've heard about Dad is that when he was young and he was working for his dad's plaster company, that he'd been injured so many times in football, he thought it'd be a funny joke on his mom to tell her that he'd broken his arm again. And so he decided to use the construction plaster to cover his arm and put a cast on. And it was all well and funny until he tried to take it off and discovered it doesn't come off like the plaster that the doctors put on.
After graduating from South Garland High School, Pat majored in aeronautical engineering at Texas A&M and got his degree in 3.5 years. While in college, Pat married his high school sweetheart, Kay, and started a family.
Having a newborn child and being newly married in a small apartment and having to go through and learn the engineering curriculum was probably no small task. But I also noticed in those films that there was always friends and family in the apartment, and there were people in the same situation that they were in that had small children, but there was always people there for them and with them. I think my father should thank me for his success, since if it weren't for me, then he wouldn't have been as driven and focused as he was at Texas A&M.
Pat had always been interested in flying and space. He dreamt of becoming an astronaut. But while he did learn how to fly a small plane and got his license, his eyes were so bad that he wasn't able to do any real flying. Upon graduating college with a degree in aerospace engineering, Pat was offered a job working on the space shuttle. He turned it down. Pat had other tricks in his bag.
He did a great Donald Duck impression, and that it was so good that he was selected to be on Johnny Carson and give his impression and flown out there. And my understanding is he made it all the way to the green room. But Zsa Zsa Gabor came on and took the stage, and he never got his moment of fame.
So Pat went to work for Delta Steel, where he found a unique way to ensure his job security. Among his responsibilities was working on the company's computer.
He tore the thing all to pieces, and you know, he had a sure job then because he had it all to pieces, and he was the only one that knew how to put it back together.
There was another reason Pat was interested in hanging around the office, a pretty lady named Brenda. Like Pat, Brenda was divorced and a parent. She had 2 young daughters. Pat courted them all.
Some of my first memories were when at Valentine's he would bring little miniature heart boxes of candy for my sister and I, just like the larger version that he gave to my mother. He was sucking up to us.
When Pat and Brenda were married, the children in their blended family were so close in age they resembled triplets.
Growing up, I was kind of like SEAL Team 6 when it came to my visits. My job was to come in and create as much disruption and chaos as possible, and then get out before anybody knew I was there.
Of course, there'd be the 3 of us in the back seat, and of course we would do the typical, he's touching me, no, she's touching me, no, tell him, leave me alone.
As a father, he was a lot of fun to watch. He really was kind of tough on the kids sometimes because he was a practical joker.
When the guys would come to the house, they definitely couldn't just drive up and honk and expect us to run out to the car. That did not happen. And believe it or not, I believe on my sister's first date, I think my dad may have had a shotgun sitting by the chair just as an extra intimidation point.
He was fair but strict. Basically, my impression of his management style was as long as everybody's doing the right thing, we have no problem. If we do have a problem, then he worked to the best of his abilities to get to the bottom and be fair with whatever result came about from that.
Let's talk about Pat and Brenda. You know, Pat, you really outkicked your coverage when you married that girl. She's so beautiful and charming.
I must say, just going by looks, you're taking a lot better care of Brenda than Brenda is of you.
Brenda, I have to give her a lot of credit because she plays the straight man to Pat's comedian so well. Because we've all heard Pat's jokes over and over again, and I laugh every time. But just think about Brenda, how many times she's heard him.
While Brenda raised their family at home, Pat joined brother Mike at their father's company, Ray Boyd Plaster and Tile.
My dad kind of put him in charge of the tile because it was a parts, pieces, very detailed oriented kind of deal, and it was something that his background, being more detailed than other people, would work to. So he ran that business for a while and then kind of took over the drywall end of our business as opposed to the plaster end. And so while he did his thing and I did my thing, we may occasionally do the same job, but it wasn't ever a requirement when we turned bids in. He would bid the drywall on a job, I might bid the plaster on a job, we might put a combination bid on the job.
He always went out and inspected the jobs. He always had a mental picture of what was supposed to be happening because that's the type of brain that he has. He always has a very good picture of what's supposed to be happening. So he could go out to a job, if things weren't going the way they were supposed to be going, he knew it without having to drag out the plans and explain everything to everybody.
Pat and Mike became partners with their dad and another friend. Then Ray retired and the friend left to start his own company. That left Pat and Mike at the helm.
They weathered many of the economic downturns that hurt other companies in the same locality because of their reputation and because of their quality workmanship and the willingness to stand behind the product.
A lot of times there was not enough work, and as a result the funds would run pretty low, and so there were times that he and his brother would not even get a paycheck in order to pay their employees.
Despite their company's excellent reputation and history, the brothers decided to sell the business. Pat intended to retire, but 2 weeks at home changed his mind. He started a consulting business, designing buildings, and he's still in business.
AWCI has been very important, or was very important to our business as a contractor because it developed relationships to allow us to network.
Pat's been active as a member longer than I have because he's so much older than I am. So Pat, I know, was involved on nearly every committee. I think he seemed to focus on the technical side and also the insurance and every other committee that you've got to come up through to be president. And as a president, I think he was very innovative.
How does he give back? This Still Doing It Right program that AWCI has, Pat basically developed along with a couple of other gentlemen, and it was his way of trying to teach the average business person that maybe doesn't have an engineering degree, or the average worker that maybe doesn't understand why some of these things are specified and required.
Pat, from a ton of committee contribution to the convention chairman and convention MC, then through the chairs all the way to the presidency, your leadership has been outstanding. If you were just a liberal Democrat, I swear you could probably get elected to public office.
Pat has always been willing to go the extra mile for AWCI and to drag Brenda along for the ride, literally. Take the time he played ringman during an AWCI auction and ended up with a '57 Chevy to go with his '55 Thunderbird.
And Pat said, "My lovely wife bought that." And my chin just about hit the table because I was shocked. I had not done one thing, and he thought after that I was going to be so mad that I'd want to get rid of the car. But instead, I told him, I said, "Nope, you bought it, we're keeping it." So we still have it today.
One funny thing about Pat that I always love so much about him, and he's this way with all of the ladies in AWCI, you know he's there before you see him because there's always a little warm breath on your neck. And that's how he announces his presence.
I think AWCI for my dad has really been a second family. He loves to teach and share his knowledge. He's made great friendships, even with former competitors, and they've traveled and made great, great memories.
We do an awful lot of travel with AWCI, and we have started doing the CSC trips. And the first trip that we did with CSC was we went to China. And that was a lot of fun. In fact, that China was a place that Pat had always said that was his dream place of going. He wanted to go to China and see the Great Wall.
Pat, being a good old Texan, didn't really eat fish. Beef, he would eat beef or beef or beef. But as you might expect on a trip to China, you get a lot of fish, you get a lot of chicken, and you get a lot of things that they say taste like chicken. But soon after that, Pat became a fish lover.
And we were at the Great Wall of China, and there was a Kentucky Fried Chicken place there, and you could smell this chicken frying all over the place. And he could not wait. He wanted to go over there and get chicken so bad, and no one would let him go.
He and Brenda are always usually the last ones to close the bar and the first ones up the next morning, which is hard for me to believe.
By the way, I still believe you are the only president to have been kicked out of his suite, moved to another location in the hotel, just because you and your friends were too rowdy.
Being a practical joker himself, it's pretty hard to put one over on Pat Boyd. But when he turned 60, that's just what dozens of his AWCI friends did.
And it was going to start in Dallas at one of Pat's favorite restaurants, and then we were going to go down to our ranch 2 hours southwest of Dallas. Well, when Carol and I volunteered to host this group, we thought, well, you know, there's about 20 couples, but we thought, well, maybe half of them or 60% might come. Well, everybody wanted to come because wherever Pat and Brenda are going to be, there's going to be a party.
The one time that I remember Pat Boyd being speechless. Now imagine that. I hope, Pat, this is the second time I see you speechless.
The most important thing I ever learned from my father is to be there for people and to be there with a passion.
It is said that nothing epitomizes success in life better than a balance of joy and high performance. Pat, congratulations on being recognized for your service and achieving that balance right along the way.
Pat, though you failed to destroy my liver during your term as president, you did an excellent job. Congratulations on this award.
You know, Pat, a lot of people know you and they think he's the fellow with the latest joke. He is the margarita king, serving everybody margaritas in the presidential suite.
One time we were in a hotel in Annapolis, Maryland, and he ordered a margarita and the bartender was fumbling around, so he ran up, helped the bartender make it the way he liked it, and off we went.
Wish we could be there to toast with you today, but we'll be thinking about you all day long and enjoy the day.
Pat, congratulations on your Pinnacle Award. I personally think you really deserve it.
Congratulations, Pat, on receiving the Pinnacle Award this year. You deserve it.
Pat, we met you and Brenda in 1979 at a conference in San Antonio, Texas. It has been a wonderful, pleasant, wild ride on a roller coaster since that day. We've enjoyed every minute, and we congratulate you for the award.
Congratulations, Pat, and much love to you, Brenda. Thanks for being our friends.
Congratulations, Patrick, on receiving this year's AWCI Pinnacle Award, showing your dedication to our industry, your family, and your community. Way to go, buddy.
Congratulations, Patrick, on winning a well-deserved award.
Pat, congratulations. We are so proud of you for receiving this Pinnacle Award. You're very deserving, and we love you so much. Congratulations.
Pat, congratulations on you getting the Pinnacle Award. I think it's a wonderful honor, and congratulations once again.
Pat, I want to congratulate you on this award that you're getting today. It's well-deserved, maybe even past due. I want to say how proud I am of you as a brother and as a colleague.
Congratulations, Dad. I'm proud of all your accomplishments and proud to call you Dad.
Hi, Dad. Congratulations on your accomplishments. For once, I get to turn around and get to say, I'm proud of you for a change. I love you dearly, and you deserve this award more than anybody I could think of.
Congratulations, Dad, on winning the Pinnacle Award and rounding out the trifecta of the Boyd family. Granddad and Uncle Mike have both won this award, and we're finally glad that you got this award to carry on the Boyd tradition with respect to AWCI.
Pat, I love you and I am so proud of you, and I want to say congratulations.
Congratulations, Granddad. We love you.
Congratulations, Granddad. We love you.
Congratulations, Granddad. I love you.
Congratulations, Granddad. Love you.
Papa, love you. Congratulations, Granddaddy. I love you.
Congratulations, Granddaddy. I love you, and you really deserve this.